are building a new way. We are building. Hi, I'm the Reverend Dr. Monica L. Cummings, and welcome to Introduction to Racial Ethnic Identity Development for Young Adults. During the course of the presentation, you will engage in material that will help you to better understand your racial ethnic identity formation. And you'll also have a better understanding of how U.S. culture influences your identity formation. I am very much aware that most times when the topic of race is brought up, that it causes some of us to feel shame, it causes some of us to feel guilt, and it causes many of us just to be uncomfortable. And I acknowledge that, I affirm, and I support whatever feelings come up for you. However, I also want to encourage you to stay engaged with the material, because I truly believe that the material will help you to not only understand how U.S. culture has influenced your racial ethnic identity development. I truly believe that the material will also help you to better understand yourself. Blessings upon you for engaging in what I consider to be spiritual work. Let our work together begin. The following 4 stages of identity formation are meant to be guidelines, and they are fluid. A person can remain at one stage or move between stages during their lifetime. The value of the model is that it provides valuable information for people to better understand their identity formation. The limitation of the model is that human beings are different, constantly evolving and changing, and hence the model could be misused. The information on your screen is split in half. On the left side will be listed the stages of identity formation that many people of color experience in the U.S. And on the right side will be listed the stages of identity formation that many white people in the U.S. experience. The first stage of identity development for people of color is characterized by many believing that the white dominant culture in this country is better than their own ethnic racial culture. And many may prefer doctors, teachers, lawyers, schools, and businesses from the white dominant culture. And transracially adopted children may assume they are white if they've been adopted by white parents and are living in a predominantly white environment. In this first stage, or pre-awareness stage, white people are unaware of the privileges of white skin. Like fish not knowing they are in water, white people in the United States are indoctrinated not to notice the advantages they have because of their white skin. This stage is also characterized by white people believing stereotypes about other ethnic groups. It is also characterized by white people not seeing race, ethnicity, or cultural differences. The second stage for people of color is the questioning or awareness stage. And this stage is usually initiated by a crisis, which causes the person to question what they have been taught and what they actually experience. Biracial and transracially adopted persons become aware of family and societal messages that they must choose one ethnic racial group identity. The second stage for white people is the awareness guilt stage. This stage is initiated by a personal encounter that brings awareness of racism. For example, if a white person goes out to lunch with a coworker and uses a credit card to pay for their meal and is not asked for identification, then witnesses their coworker being asked for identification when a credit card is used. This stage is also characterized by feelings of guilt because of the historical oppression people of color have experienced in the United States. And the feelings of guilt often causes internal discomfort for white people. For people of color, the third stage is the rejection disengagement stage. This stage is characterized by withdrawal from and rejection of the white dominant culture in the United States and immersion in one's own culture. This stage is also marked by anger and rage. Biracial persons at this stage may experience self-hatred because they get societal messages and maybe messages from their families that they have to pick one of their parents' ethnic racial identity at the exclusion of the other. And transracially adopted persons may disengage from their ethnicity of birth or from their adoptive parents' identity. For white people, the third stage is the rejection disengagement stage. The internal discomfort that surfaced in the previous stage is manifested by some white people believing that if they avoid contact with people of color, they will feel better. The internal discomfort causes some white people to engage with people of color out of guilt and or the need to feel good about themselves. The internal discomfort felt in this stage may cause white people to distance themselves from whiteness. For people of color, the fourth stage is the integration re-engagement stage. In this stage, a person's sense of self is more positive and their attachment to the world is more secure. At this stage, a person of color is able to accept the healthy and reject the harmful elements of the dominant white culture. And this stage is also marked by the person's willingness to be critical of their own culture. And there's awareness that movement between stages, back and forth, is normal. For white people, the fourth stage is the integration, re-engagement stage. In this stage, a healthy white identity is emerging, as is a willingness to be critical of the white dominant culture without guilt. Resistance and transformation of white privilege and systemic racism in collaboration with other whites and with people of color is done with respect and accountability. Also in this stage, there's awareness that moving back and forth between stages is normal. Well, this concludes the presentation in our time together. Give yourselves a pat on the back for staying engaged with the material and working hard. And it's always a good idea when you're doing ethnic racial identity development and formation work that you do it in community. So I highly recommend and encourage you to connect with white allies. There's a UU organization called Allies for Racial Equity. People of color, there's an organization called DRUM, Diverse, Revolutionary, Unitarian, Universalist, Multicultural Ministries. There's also a number of Journey Toward Wholeness cluster groups throughout the United States. So again, I encourage you to connect with the community as you continue to learn about yourself and learn about your ethnic racial identity.